In this video, we're going to watch a pickup artist try to approach girls and get their number, get a date. This is something that, generally is considered kind of weird, kind of creepy, approaching women. It's not very, modern feminism approved. But there are people who show themselves, myself included, if you don't know my channel, approaching women. And sometimes you can see it seems to go very well. It seems to lead to a lot of success. Although other times it's extremely cringe and uncomfortable. And sadly, those videos tend to be far more popular because it's more entertaining. And I think also when you see someone fail and you see them be cringe, it kind of makes you feel better about the fact that you're not doing it, that you're not trying to approach women because, well, I don't look how horrible that went. Now I get to feel better about myself for not trying. So I think that's a big part of the reason. But there are some people who are good at it, and we're going to watch someone called Fluid Social and see which category do they belong into. Are they one of these cringe lords that just make approaching women look like a creepy, weird thing to do? Or is he someone who's actually smooth, who actually knows how to have an interaction that is likely to lead to a date? And that's what we're going to take a look at in this video.
Excuse me. Hi. So you just walked past me and you have a really cool style.
So he did kind of approach from behind her, which is not ideal. He said, "Excuse me," while he was still kind of from behind, which can be a little bit jarring. It's not the end of the world. It's a very common mistake. It's something we all do. Ideally, you do want to get in front of her and make eye contact first if you can. Sometimes it's not an option. But other than that, his tone is very friendly, but it's not beta. It's not like, "Hi, you're very pretty," which a lot of guys, when I do boot camps, when I do in-person coaching, I see so many of my clients, when they talk to me, they sound normal, they sound cool. But when they talk to a girl, their voice literally goes up like an entire octave. They start rushing, it's a whole different persona. They put on this mask where they completely change the way they're acting, the way they're talking, to basically be supplicating, to be low status, to talk to the girl like she's a celebrity, and they're like so excited to see this celebrity in real life, and the girl is instantly turned off. You do want to have positive energy. You don't want to be a dickhead. I mean, some girls are into that, but generally leading with positivity is going to be better. But you need to do it with some level of masculinity, some level of dominant energy. And his approach initially does a good job at having both.
Very striking. What's your name?
Thank you, Chrissy.
Chrissy, I'm Sam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sam.
What do you
Uniqlo, please.
Huh? This is Uniqlo. How do you know?
I got one.
You like representing.
They're the best fleece.
They are the best fleece.
Because I feel like you can wear a coat on top, like a light coat, and then you can still be warm, you know?
You can. They're
really
not good
great.
for much else though. Most of the things are a little bit everything's very oversized there.
It's true, but the fleeces, they nailed it.
The fleeces are the winners. You're an artist, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a dancer.
Okay, so who is reacting to who? In any social interaction, one person is going to be more reactive than the other person. Generally, for example, if you're working at your job, the manager is going to be less reactive than the employee. And when it comes to dating, when it comes to seduction, the number one female fantasy is dominance and submission. That's why 50 Shades of Grey is the most popular book of the 2010s. That is the number one fantasy. So for the majority of women, if you're the one who's being reactive to them, you're being submissive to them in the way that you carry yourself, they're not going to be attractive. They're just going to be like, this guy's a loser. This guy's a dork. That's what they're going to think. And you can tell by the way that she's acting. She's moving a lot. She's talking fast. She's laughing kind of obnoxiously, but she's laughing more than really fits what he's saying, right? It's reactive. And those are all very good signs to watch out for. When a girl's acting that way, most likely she's attracted to you. And he's not overly excited. He's not like, completely deadpan and emotionless, but he's not reacting to her. She's reacting to him. And that really is kind of the foundation of seduction, of attraction, is being less reactive than the girl is being reactive to you.
Yeah, I'm a dancer, yeah.
You're a dancer?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it ballet or contemporary?
blagging it all, probably, yeah.
Well, have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, it looks like he cut. That's a little sus. He cut it to where he ends the interaction. I mean, I assume she would have just said something like, I have a boyfriend, and there's no reason not to include that. So I have no idea what happened there. Maybe he'll explain it, but that was very strange.
Thank you for coming and saying hi.
No, keep the positivity with you.
Have a lovely day. What are you doing? Where are you going?
I'm gonna meet a friend up here, and we're gonna go to Green Park.
Nice.
Bumble around.
Oh, enjoy.
Take care, darling.
Take care.
Bye-bye. So the interaction that you just saw was fortuitous. So I was actually very lucky because the first girl that I go up and talk to is just fun and friendly with a nice energy, with positivity. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. If you watched my video that I released last week, you'll see that the first ones didn't go very well at all. For a lot of guys, that can destabilize them and make them feel like they're doing something wrong, they're bad, it's not their day. Create all of these reasons why it didn't work, but the truth is it's just blind luck who you walk into at the time. So today it was lucky because she just responded well. She was up.
I mean, I wouldn't quite agree. Luck is a huge factor in pickup. It's kind of like, say, poker, where, look, you're going to get good hands, good approaches, where pretty much as long as you don't screw it up, it's going to go down. There's going to be opportunities that just present themselves that are very easy. And to be fair, most guys still manage to screw those opportunities up. But there's going to be really good hands or approaches. And then there's going to be really bad ones where the girl's in a horrible mood. She's about to meet her boyfriend. Maybe, like, I don't know, her cat died and she's just in a terrible mood. Whatever. She doesn't want to talk to you. And it's just not going to happen no matter how smooth you are, no matter what you do. And she's going to be, weird or negative. Now, the majority of interactions are at least going to be pleasant enough, positive enough. Most rejections are not that harsh unless you're coming at her with some negative energy. Most of the time, it's not going to be a big deal. But he's right that luck is a huge factor. And that's why volume is so important. If you approach 20 girls, it's pretty much guaranteed that some of them are going to like you, some of them are going to be receptive, and you're going to have some opportunities. But it's also guaranteed that some of them are going to want to have nothing to do with you. I have a friend in Vegas. This guy, he approaches like a madman. He'll approach girls who look like they're with their boyfriend. He'll approach girls that are clearly like in a rush to get somewhere. They're all lined up, holding each other's hands. And he'll just like tap one of their shoulders and try to start talking to them. And usually those approaches are done in 5 seconds, right? Usually they go nowhere. But because he has no hesitation whatsoever, he'll try anything. Sometimes he'll pull one of those girls that most guys would never have even thought of approaching. He'll take her home within 30 seconds or at least a few minutes. I've seen that happen a number of times. So yes, it is a numbers game to an extent. And yes, you are going to get rejections, but the more you play the numbers game, the more you are guaranteed to overall succeed. Because unlike poker, if you fail in poker, you're losing money. If you fail in pickup and you get a rejection, you're not losing anything, right? You're losing at most a few minutes of time, but you're actually also building momentum and building more iciness. Basically, you're showing yourself it's not a big deal to get rejected, which means your future approaches are more likely to go well. So you have nothing to lose and a lot to gain.
Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw you walking past and you have amazing style. So I wanted to give you a compliment.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you.
Are you Spanish?
No, Brazilian.
Ai, qual cidade?
São Paulo.
São Paulo?
Fala português?
Eu falo pouco de português. Eu estava no Rio de Janeiro
Ah,
há
Rio.
muito tempo.
Ah, legal.
Então só voltei a última semana.
Ai, que bom. É difícil alguém falar português aqui.
É difícil no Rio também. Ninguém fala. Os turistas estrangeiros não falam.
Vou embora amanhã.
Por quê?
Porque eu trabalho numa empresa francesa e eu vim pra Paris. E aí eu volto pra São Paulo agora.
Que isso? Quer ficar mais? Você gosta de Londres?
É bem diferente assim.
Diferente como?
Frio.
É frio agora.
Cinza.
Mas você precisa ficar em junho, julho.
So this interaction is a good example. I mean, it's very fortuitous that he knows Portuguese to some extent, but this is a good example of how basic and normal approaching a girl can be. It doesn't require crazy gimmicks, crazy lines, doing anything garish or weird. He just approached her, said he liked her style, and then asked where she's from or guessed where she's from, and then started a conversation about where she's from, which is a very easy thing to do. It's a very normal way to start a conversation. And what's making it intriguing or interesting enough to her is that he's centered, he's grounded, he's not being reactive, and he's holding strong eye contact, and his vocal tonality is engaging, right? He's not being super robotic or super, like I was talking, low status, like, oh my God, overexcited, like, hey, how's it going? He's not doing any of that. And that is enough. That is enough to be far more successful than you probably would want to even think. Very basic things are enough to get good results.
Eu acho que em junho eu vou para Brasil, ficar tempo no Rio e eu vou para Bahia também.
Ah, legal.
Mas vai ser bom para começar.
So let me put my face in it. So he's mentioning that he's going to Brazil in the future, which the reason you would do that is if you're like getting a girl's number and it's only a tourist situation where you're not in your hometown, some girls are going to feel like it would be too slutty to meet a guy who you know you're never going to see again, right? You know that there's no chance of it leading to something longer term. And so some girls won't want to do that. But if you say, oh, I'm actually coming to Brazil, it kind of helps deal with that objection, right? You're potentially someone she's going to see again. So that does make sense.
Se você está livre lá, você tem o WhatsApp? Você manda mensagem?
Instagram?
Eu acho que eu tenho. Não, I deleted the app.
Oh, sim.
Mas você que sabe, mas você tem namorado agora?
Não. Eu tenho, WhatsApp. Fiquei impressionada com o seu português, muito bom.
Okay, so another criticism is he's saying like maybe I'll be in Brazil months later. Yes, it is good to not make her feel like a slut, but he's not setting up a meetup now. He's not setting up a meetup in this particular situation. It also looks like she's not doing anything. She's free. As far as I can tell, he could be taking her on a date and going for the pool right now. He doesn't necessarily need to go for the number. Generally, with tourists, numbers can still work. You can still get dates from tourist numbers. I've done it many times, but it's definitely a lower percentage chance, right? So if you're dealing with someone who doesn't live in the place that you met them, it is ideal to go for the pool if it's possible. And I don't see any reason why it's not possible here, but also the idea that he's setting up meeting her months in advance, and that's the context, that's the frame of getting the number. It's less likely for him to get a date by doing that than if he makes specific plans for later that evening or the next day or something like that. Someone saying always go for the pool, numbers are meaningless. I disagree. I'd say going for the pool should be plan A in your mind. That should be the first option. Then you find out her situation. You find out how receptive she is, how available she is. And based on that, oftentimes the pool no longer is the best option and getting the numbers the best option. But in your mind, pulling should be the first option and getting the number is your backup plan if you can't pull. But what a lot of guys do and what is happening in this video is it seems like pulling is the backup plan and the number is the plan A.
Excuse me. Hi. I just saw your skirt. I thought it looked really good. I like your style. And I had a second question. Are you German?
No, I'm Swedish.
Oh, you're Swedish? From Stockholm?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice to meet you. I'm Sam.
Hi.
I just saw your style and I was like, she stands out and that's nice in London. You're colourful.
Thank
so
you.
It looks great.
Yeah.
How long are you here for?
I don't know really. I'm meeting some friends.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I mean, in London. Do you live here or do you
No,
just...
I'm here for... But I haven't decided if I'm going home on like what is Sunday,
Sunday
or Monday. I don't know.
Right.
I have no clue what day it is now. I feel like
Today is Friday,
Friday. All right.
which makes tomorrow Saturday
Right.
and the following day Sunday.
Then it's Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, cool. So you've got one more weekend in London and you're going to go and party.
No, I'm like going to theaters and stuff.
You're doing London the right way. Everyone just goes out to clubs and parties and you're actually doing it properly. Cinemas and theatres.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, listen, I hope you have a really lovely time here and keep dressing your way. Don't follow the crowd. I love it.
Yeah, have a good
Have
day.
a lovely day. Take care, though. Now, my suspicion is that this particular individual has never been approached by a man in her life. I got a strong sense that was the first time, and it was just a positive experience. She was very shy. She was very timid.
He is making a very important point, which Men very rarely approach women, especially in daytime environments, especially just walking down the street. It's extremely rare. Men are terrified of doing it. Very few ever do. And it stands out. Sometimes girls will be like, taken aback, kind of thrown off by it. But generally, it makes it extremely positive and exciting of an experience as long as you're not pushy or aggressive or anything like that, right? It makes it stand out. It's so much more intriguing than meeting a guy on Tinder. Like in romance novels, right? In 50 Shades of Grey, did the main character, Anastasia, I think her name is, meet whatever his name, Christian Grey? Did she meet him on a dating app? How many romance novels, how many romance movies do they meet on dating apps? Is that like women's fantasy to meet on a dating app? Oh my God, it's so exciting to meet. No, actually, a lot of girls, if you meet them on a dating app, will say, okay, so actually, here's our story about how we met when I tell my friends. They don't want to admit it. They want to have met a guy in a library or a guy somewhere random. It's just a spur of the moment kind of thing that just happened. And that is something that women are starved for now because so many men are so cucked. They're so afraid of getting rejected. They're so addicted to porn. They're like, this is good enough. They're relying on dating apps that it rarely happens. And you will stand out far more than you think you will by actually approaching women in real life.
Maybe a little bit nervous, but I made it very clear that I was no threat. I sort of adapted to the energy level that she was giving off and to her frequency, and I think she'll probably walk away feeling a little bit more positive about men and about the world. No one really approaches women in Sweden. So sometimes you just get a good feeling that you're doing something good and it's helping you, it's helping her, and it's improving things on a macro level as well by changing the culture slightly more in a direction that I think we can all look forward to.
I really wish you would explain why he's not going for the number, because if he's just not interested because he doesn't like shy girls, that's fine. But it's kind of odd that the first girl didn't ask her number as far as I can tell, or they cut it out. Third girl didn't ask for her number. And then second girl, he did ask for a number, but not in the ideal way. Maybe he has a girlfriend or something. I'm just not aware of this. And he's just doing this to demonstrate. But without that knowledge, it's kind of weird. It's cool to do approaches and, have a good time, express yourself. Even if you don't get the number, can be a rewarding experience. Sure. But if you have chemistry with a girl, you find a girl attractive, and presumably the way he's talking about them, he did, then why wouldn't you go for the number? There's no reason to shoot yourself in the foot either. So I'm not sure the explanation of that. But outside of that, his approaches were very good. They were smooth. The girls, he has a good energy where he's not putting on too much pressure. He's not being like too forceful in his energy, but he's also not being low status and beta and reactive. Groundedness can get you very far. And the way you show groundedness, partly it's the way you speak, partly it's with steady eye contact that's not like, and the third one is body language, not being like, fidgety and not being, overly reacting to what's happening. That's the third part, is just grounded body language. And he does all those things well. So overall, I'd say this was a good clip. I don't really understand what the cuts were about and why he didn't get the first girl's number or the third girl's number. Overall, this guy's not one of these cringy pickup guys that, makes the whole idea of approaching women look bad. And I'll have a link to his channel below. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I want to let you know right now I'm offering my book, my full-length book, The Game Plan, for 50% off for literally just $7 for a full-length book. It comes with an infield breakdown of how I picked up a hot Latina girl. It includes a personalized action plan. So basically, you're communicating with me. I'm going to create a customized step-by-step action plan for getting the results you want in regards to pickup. And it includes a lot more. There's tons of other bonuses. It's not just a book for $7. It's a book plus a lot more. So make sure to click the link below to learn more about that. With that said, I've actually got some more infield this weekend that I'm going to be posting in the near future. I have a couple that are good approaches. I also recorded myself approaching girls while I was having an anxiety attack, literally approaching girls while I was having an anxiety attack in the worst state possible. And I did this for a couple reasons. One, it shows that no matter how bad your emotional state is, you can still overcome it. It doesn't have to control you. And secondly, when you take right action, when you do things that you resist, right, that your ego is telling you not to do, you start to get into a better state. Because I show that my first approaches genuinely sucked, understandably, while I was having an anxiety attack. But over time, they got better and better. And eventually the anxiety attack completely disappeared. And I started actually having a good time and having success. So that's going to be a very interesting video that's going to come out in the near future. With that said, if you want to go deeper than just watching YouTube videos and you want some content that is extremely organized, extremely detailed, because a book is very different than just talking on camera about a topic. A book is something you write, you revise, you think about, and you make sure that it has everything someone needs in the right order with a structured series of action steps to get results. And so if that's something you're interested in, something that's more than just general advice, general content that is meant to be entertaining, and something that is far more designed towards getting you results, then make sure to click the link below to get a copy of my book, The Game Plan.